young generation or young population is creating the gaps.
Okay, good. Good thoughts out there. So we'll actually hear it from the wards. Okay, what do you actually feel about it? Is this actually all a lot of jargon and marketing stuff, or do you think actually, do you see all the translating into business opportunities for you?
All this business.
Yeah. Is it translating into business opportunities for you? Because actually at the end of the day, all of these need to be translated actually from the point of view of business, right? It's actually got to show you growth on the balance sheet. Is that actually happening?
Yeah, all because of this young generation and all. The product is moving fast.
Yeah.
And they are changing very fast, like.
Yeah.
Within a few months or few years, they change their laptop, their desktop and everything like that. And also earlier we used to have a modem through which we use the internet. Now it is a broadband, then 3G, then this iPad and iPod have changed everything. It's all technology driven.
Is it right for me to actually say that the churn factor for devices is actually becoming higher? That means the duration for which a device is used is now coming down to actually less than a year or maybe.
Yeah, it has come down. But the product developed should be of green in nature. As Mr. Deepak Sahu, when inaugurated, he told that everything should be in green, like it should be recyclable. Otherwise, there will be everything like when you leave this world, all IT products will be there on the earth.
Absolutely. Okay, good thought there. Actually, you want to actually say some thoughts on this?
I would like to say something. I would like to add actually.
Yeah.
See, I have seen the transformation of this industry from the narrow band to the broadband.
Yeah.
See, in good old days, in 90s, late 90s, we saw the narrow band, the availability of the infrastructure or the bandwidth available to the user was very, very less.
Right.
So since the inception of the new ISPs who came into the fold and the new telecom operators, see, it is the contribution of the generation, the newer generation, and the contribution of the principals of the world who have been providing the equipments best suited for today's needs. So that has also created a huge spectrum of choice for the customer to have this. So that is how it has. I have been with the VAR since last 14 years. So I have seen small products grown big, smaller companies grown big and providing latest equipment which enabled everything else. See, need and the supply. Both are put together.
So they're actually going together right now.
Yes.
So very interesting thoughts. So here as I jump back actually to Mr. Hari for your thoughts actually on what do you think are the growth drivers that we've seen in the recent past?
See, I think all of us need to understand and appreciate that telecom has been one of the biggest growth drivers for the country, because earlier it used to be such a big problem to even get a phone. Once the cellular network was introduced and you started getting smart applications, smartphones, I think the proliferation of telecom has really helped India grow. Not only in terms of direct consumers, but also in terms of India's software exports. Software exports were almost $100 billion some 23 years back, and today we are sitting on a very decent figure, and we can see that it's going to be even more exponential to almost $50 billion maybe next year. So I think one of the most important drivers for India has been the success of the software industry, because the software industry success led to a lot of people wanting to learn IT. It started the consumption of more IT products, more IT services, and then the government initiatives. In fact, in the future, if you see e-governance and education and consumer electronics will continue to drive this growth phase. And media, entertainment, all these things are going to converge, or they've already converged. So that's one of the key growth drivers, as I see, in the future, which is going to be e-governance projects and the SME segment and the entertainment media sector in the future. In the past, there have been a lot of contributors, but the key contributor, I would say, is the telecom revolution which took place in India, proliferation of mobile phones, mobile applications, and the success of the software.
So is it actually right to say that services actually is going to be really something that as an organization, as IT as an industry should be looking at closely?
Pardon me?
Services.
Services is part of this industry. Right. India is excelled in IT services, not in IT products. As of now, we have quite a lot of successful companies. We are primarily a service economy in the IT space, and services will continue to grow. And India will be the service provider for the world, one of the major service providers for the world in this field.
I used to love the saying that India is actually going to become the back office of the world. Is that actually a right statement to make?
India will be one of the back offices of the world. Like China is the manufacturing back office of the world, back offices of the world. Because the world has got a very, I would say, middle-aged population, growing population, whereas India has got a very large young population who are all wanting to earn money.
Is the thought about demographics again?
Demography is very important for any economic development.
Hands down, actually, the winner of this round seems to be demographics. Population actually is something that is actually fueling India's growth rate. Is that actually right to say, along with services and stuff like that?
See, there is not a single factor, which can drive growth. It's a number of factors together, right? Where demography in any marketplace plays a very important role. For example, India's electronic imports, we will overtake the oil imports very soon because of the proliferation of consumer goods coming into India. That's why now one of the growth drivers in India is going to be the electronic manufacturing segment. As Mr. Nite was saying, he's one of the few vendors who sort of put manufacturing units in India. So I do see that India will have patches of excellence in manufacturing, electronic manufacturing as we go forward, because the country will not be able to afford so much of foreign exchange just to import televisions and mobile handsets and things like that, because that market is really exploding.
Sure. Good thoughts there. Actually, would you like to chime in with your thoughts?
I would like to agree with Mr. Hari. See, not only the population, but the English-speaking population is also the driver behind the economic development, IT industry development. Okay, most of the time, the service industry is booming only because of the language which most of the people speak in India. Right? And as well as internet, then your mobile internet devices, multimedia, and again all these are getting converged. And this conversion, when the conversion happens, almost all products will be using some sort of IT product in it. And then definitely they will fuel the
growth. Okay, good thoughts there. Mr. Krishna is being one of the largest distributors in the country. We were actually having this discussion about what are the growth drivers that are actually, that you've seen, personally in the last couple of years to drive the IT industry. Would you like to actually share your thoughts about that? Can I have this?
I think this is all right. The growth drivers in the industry today, the way we see it, is education, government, and defense. They are big time spenders. The largest budgets are coming from these three areas. Plus the fact that now foreign investments started coming back into the country, so the companies that were export oriented were able to spend money also, and that became a fairly significant contributor. But for us, clearly, three: defense, government, education.
So all of these three things that you actually mentioned, just to pick up the thought, defense, education, and government, defense, all of it actually has got a significant government interest. So when you look at government and defense, and actually the government would be driving the defense and education, you're primarily talking about primary education and so on.
Secondary?
Primary, secondary, K-12 education essentially. So you're seeing that actually is major areas of growth?
They are the three that have got money, they are spending, and they want to spend.
Isn't it all actually, government?
Yes, in a way, but I'm differentiating it because education is not taking money from the government. If you look at Amity School, they're not government oriented. So there are many organizations, KIIT, Bhubaneswar, 18 crore order. These are the kind of sizes of orders which they are placing notebooks. And it's not ending anywhere near here, it's going to grow even more because most of them now are looking at tablets, most of them are looking at smarter devices.
Irrespective of form factor, they would like to actually have compute playing in. Okay, Tushar, any thoughts on this?
A few thoughts. All these factors what we discussed, what I believe contribute to the growth in India, I think is making some noise.
Is it a controversial statement you're making? You got lighter. Sorry, that is a lighter.
No problem. See, what I believe, like IT is the growth that we're looking at is just started. We have just started operations. Well, if you look at it, IT has now been distributed among business as well as individuals. Previously, if you go to see, business were only using IT. As Mr. Nite said, PCs, you have to take licenses. We are growing fast, but I think that we not even started. If you look at business and personal, we have so much social networking sites, things like that. We have tablets coming in, so tremendous amount of growth, and that's where population comes into picture. If you look at business, I would say we are not started at all. In business, IT is being used only by companies or SMBs who are little tech savvy and so on. If you look at developed markets, if you go abroad, they use IT in all the applications that they do. Even at grocery shops, 7-Elevens and all. And where are we? So there's a tremendous amount of opportunity. IT is to be used by all businesses, small, big, linked to each other. So that gives that thing, we don't have it in India, but that gives tremendous amount of feeling that we have excellent opportunity to grow. I think the growth has just started. I think what is hampering growth at both business side as well as personal side is applications. I think we need to be more on developing applications. We are more of a hardware industry, what I've been associated for past 2 decades, is more into hardware, maybe coming out with software. If you see, I've seen people buying iPhones, Blackberries, using mainly for MPs and chatting or BB Messenger, most of them except this. We don't have that type of application. I think it's time that if we want to accelerate the growth, of course IT will take its natural growth. If we want to accelerate, I think applications is what is the key, which will drive IT more towards small businesses and all, and apart from that individual users also. And of course all factors, education as Mr. Krishnan said is also important. So I think big growth ahead for all of us.
There's a big opportunity. That's what we're actually really ending your initial note on. Mr. Lalman, you would actually say some thoughts about what are the growth drivers?
Maybe Tushar.
Yes.
We haven't started.
Yeah.
The growth just happened.
Yeah.
One thing of what China is. China's IT is infrastructure.
Yeah.
The principles of the manufacturers should be putting up their manufacturers.
Alright, so we're actually talking about, do you believe that actually manufacturing will grow in a big way?
Yeah, of course, the product is going to get cheaper. Get more jobs.
I'm talking about manufacturing segment in India. Actually, the growth of the manufacturing segment is actually, one of your co-panelists was talking about. So we talked about actually manufacturing being, spurring the growth for IT.
Yeah, referring to Hari's statement that we are basically in software services in the country. Why can't we succeed in that?
Why can't we?
Why can't we?
Yeah.
So we have the largest English-speaking population in the country.
Is that actually
we respect all the IPRs across. We have a strong legal system, unlike China.
Yeah.
And most of the principals all across the world will agree that we respect IPRs.
Yeah.
So I think we have a strong point that we should be manufacturing in India.
Okay, good thought there.
And that will bring the real growth. That will bring the real growth.
The real growth, absolutely. What do you think, actually, James?
So a few thoughts here. Then analysts before me have talked about demographics and manufacturing and the growth drivers, which are the consumptions, I think, government, education. I think these are all, in some way, driving, rather enabling services for the end customers. Whatever the government does, they do. I think finally, to all the services, demographics will be supposed to take examples if there are certain services offered on the cloud, wherever. I think it is the large population that actually consumes this. It becomes it's a game-changing way of doing business. I think a lot of companies realize that and they're investing in that. The other thing that we should also look at is over a period of time. Okay, there is phenomenal amount of complexity sleeping into our data centers and the way we do business. And the opportunity there is to really simplify. When we can build a lot of things and with legacy systems, I think that's the opportunity for us as VARs and vendors, as SIs, to make sure that we look at opportunities to really simplify all that IT does and therefore create more scalable, robust systems, which will then take on the next level of what we can do. Obviously, the other biggest trend now, the vendor that we are from, I think, is cloud and cloud delivery models, which are really enabling absolutely unthinkable sort of delivery of services and the way we reach out to customers, the way we service our end customers and whatever offerings. I think that's the biggest opportunity for all of us collectively, because while certain vendors can create products around it, certain people consume it, some people actually use those things to create services and offerings. Be it on devices, so various levels, be it infrastructure, be it the applications, as Tushar just mentioned, or the end user devices that actually consume this, be it BlackBerry.
It's a large ecosystem actually.
all the layers of this thing actually will be touched by that.
I'm sorry to cut in. I'm very tempted to do my 2-minute marketing pitch. Cloud computing is actually something close to my heart. But then if I start talking about cloud computing, I won't do justice to the panel discussion over here. I'd like to actually ask a totally diametrically opposite question over here. Is cloud computing, what is cloud computing all about? What is your thoughts? I'm back to the panelists who have not actually chimed in yet. But what are your thoughts about cloud computing? Do you think it is actually making the IT industry grow? Or do you think actually, cloud computing is actually bringing the prices down, as I was told by one of the wards? Anyone can actually, pitch in for this. Okay.
See, the IT industry has been very good at using jargon, right? So every time we invent a new jargon and market it so that more people come and become suckers.
Right.
So cloud computing is nothing new.
Yeah.
It's something which has been existing for a long time.
Yeah.
Only thing is, today it's been called cloud computing, and today all people are talking about cloud computing so that people do not understand and go and buy it. So,
okay, I wish I could just go on to the other side of the panel and actually give an answer to this, but I'd rather actually, can I for a minute actually sit on the other side and talk about it?
sure.
Can I actually, take on the role of a panelist and answer the question really? Can I do that? Okay, fine. Let me just actually come on to the panelist side over here and say, Hari, cloud computing. What is cloud computing after all? It's not a new concept, I agree completely with you on that. But tell me actually one technology, one aspect that can empower a small business today to do business like a large enterprise. Tell me one aspect, one example which does not have cloud computing.
It's just the HTTP protocol, which is now almost 30 years old.
I'm not a technical guy, I'm running a...
No, what I'm saying is that's a simple thing, what is the internet? It allows small businesses.
What cloud computing today we are talking, especially for the SME segment. When you look at the SME segment, suppose I have a small bar, with respect to the bars only. These are all small, suppose somebody has got a 20 people working with him. For 20 people, if he has to go for and get all the software licenses, it will be a lot of capital investment. What cloud is trying to do is, bringing down the capital investment, your working capital investment is going to be there.
Use open source.
No, open source is fine. Open source is not free. Open source is also not free. But going into the cloud, if you have proper security enabled, then I think the cloud is the next level where the IT or everybody can take their businesses to a higher level. If a small one wants to take his business to a higher level, cloud is the answer.
So in India,
Is cloud the answer?
yeah, in India, they know the staff or the employees salary is very less, and everyone can have their own IT department.
I don't think actually the HR departments will agree to what you said. Is that right?
For SMEs, for 20-25 of us are
You don't think so?
Excuse me, I just see people are talking about cloud from corporate.